Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Heart to Heart, the stories of us. This is your host. Before we start, I just wanted to take a moment and thank all the comments and likes and the feedback that we have gotten. Like I said last episode, we constantly read it. We try to improve upon the feedback, and thank you so much for all the love that you guys have continuously showed us. We are ever grateful. Having said that, welcome back to another episode with another one of our favorite TikTokers, social media personalities, Sonam, Giri.
Hi. Okay. Hi. Am I starting? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Kusampula. My name is Sonam Giri, and before we start, I really want to say I want to thank Heart to Heart team and our host for inviting me. It's truly an honor because compared to all the previous artists and guests that has featured in this podcast, I feel like, what am I doing here? Why was I invited? But truly honored, and I'm very excited to be here and be part of this conversation.
Oh, but I don't think that's true at all, because you are actually one of the first people. Not one of the first. You're probably the first person who I have seen blow up on TikTok and then do something with TikTok after, because I know that a lot of people, they blow up once and then they don't they can't do more on all of that hype. Anyway, how do you feel?
Well, I'm very nervous to begin with. Not nervous to have this conversation because I know you, so it's fine. But it's going out to the public, and I think I'm more nervous about how the reaction will be, and the comments and all that. But it's fine. I'll try to be thick-skinned.
Yeah, I can actually see where that apprehension is coming from, because when you first started this show, the second season at least, I was so scared of looking at the comments. But then after some time, I realized that people who have feedback, hey, why don't you do this? You can improve upon it, and I feel I like that because then they have solutions for their problems. But then there are people who just say something for the sake of saying something negative.
Just hate you for existing.
Exactly. Then I realized that actually that some people, they just don't like you for your vibe. And then that's also all right, I feel sometimes, because that happens a lot, especially when you meet somebody new and then you just don't like them and then everybody likes them. But completely, I feel I'm losing track of what I was saying.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
So yeah. And I can completely see where that's where that apprehension is coming from. But like I told you earlier, we can always revisit the conversation, right? So if at any point you don't want to answer a question, completely fine, right? If at any point you want to skip over something that you said, completely fine, doesn't really matter.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
All right. I actually have known you for a while, but I actually don't know much about you.
Okay, yeah, exactly, because we just met through mutuals and then just directly, hi, all that.
Exactly. And then we were and I just realized when I was thinking of some questions that I could ask you, I was oh my god, I actually don't know anything about you. Where are you from?
So I'm from Samtsi, Sipsu. So are you, which I realized earlier. So my mom's from Gelifo, so I also do visit Gelifo every winter break, but Samtsi as well, because my dad's from Samtsi and my census is from Samtsi as well. So Samtsi, Sipsu.
Yeah, and then you had a very active and thriving career in Bhutan before you moved to Perth, right? How did the decision to move to Perth, how did that come about?
Okay, I don't know if I can answer that question without being hated on, but honestly, one thing will be, do you know how you feel left out?
Yeah.
Literally all my friends are here.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, what do you call that word? FOMO.
Yeah, fear of missing out.
Yeah,
right?
fear of missing out. I was everyone's going out. What am I doing here? Plus, I've been in Bhutan PP to 12 and then Sherp Sitayinga.
Yeah.
So I've never been to Chikalipasa. I thought maybe everyone's going anyway, so let's just go. Let's just try. And then I did, yeah.
And then when you told your family and your partner that you might want to move away from the country, because like I said, you actually had a really thriving career, right? I know some people who felt like, oh, I've hit a wall, I'm not doing much in the country. So how did they react?
My dad was okay with it. Initially, he honestly took it as a joke. I was like, oh, everyone's going to Australia. I want to go as well. Then he was like, you want to? Okay, like, PT Bay or like, I'll step the Tachi. Let's see how it goes from there. Because he honestly thought that I wouldn't like actually do it. But then he was supportive all in all. Like, he was like, do your PTE or IELTS step. I did my IELTS and then I got my result. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't over jigs also, but then it was fine enough for me to come here. And then my dad was like, are you serious? Like, do you really want to do this? And I was like, yeah, like everyone's going. Let me just go and do this. And then eventually, yeah, my appa is always like that. He always does things like last moment. He doesn't really tell me like, let's plan, yeah, let's do this. And remember, as I was processing like doing my IELTS, I'm just consider he wasn't like, okay, go celebrate all of day. I just did it for the sake of doing it. And then he was like, last moment, he was like, okay, go do whatever. He was supportive, obviously financially as well, because I don't have money.
Exactly, especially when you are so young, when you want to like move, it's like completely your family and how much they are willing to like support the financial aspect of like moving to Australia. Of course, we will take care of the documentation and everything else. And did you have like, how did you tell your work friends? How did they react?
Maybe they already saw it coming because a lot of people were already processing to go to Australia. I was working in YHS, so a lot of our group friendship lunch so one of them already went to Brisbane, and then there was like 4 of us left, and then I was the next one to go. But then YHS there were already so many teachers already applying to go to Australia, so they always saw it coming. But after that, 2 of my friends again came here from YHS. So there's only one friend. She's like, I'm not gonna come. And so they knew that I was gonna come anyway.
So if I'm not wrong, you did your poli-sci from Sherapti, and then the last I knew, you were like a counselor in YHS. How did that happen?
Nobody saw that coming. Honestly, because I was honestly never studious and then but my dad was very insistent. He was like very strict. He was very strict. That's why he never let me like do anything else, like dance to say Bimichu, like, TikTok. I can't imagine if I was in high school and if I was on TikTok, my dad would have been like but
cut it out.
He's very strict when it comes to studies, so he really pushed me to do better. But then me being me, I wasn't like average. I was an average student, so passed then passed. And then when I came back, my dad was like, you have to prepare for RCC. And then I'm actually really grateful for my dad, because if he didn't push me so much, I wouldn't have gotten through RCC, because he used to high school no going out, you're studying, and he used to like print all these materials for me, office print paper, past papers just to print paper. And then he's really good with Zonka, like, and some words to Sonam. So RCC, obviously you had to study Zonka as well. So he supported me so much. I'm glad he was strict with me, because of that I passed. And then first na PE through Jodalu. Before RCS you do that exam. PE chapter PED, it was all choosing. So Lhaki be passed in the because I got like 52 or something. 50 is cut off. So 52 I passed. And my dad was like, okay, now you prepare for RCS, and then prepare bay, and then I marks legium top, and then I opted for PGDE in education. So Paul Sock take bay, then education the Jodalu. Honestly, the only option was counseling. So I took it, but then I realized I actually enjoyed studying about it once I reached Samsi, and I actually studied really hard, and marks the legium top chi. I was in like 70s, 80s, which I have never scored in my life.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah,
So
long story.
Bachelor's in poli-sci, PGD in counseling.
Yeah.
And then what did you do your master's in?
Community development.
Oh, wow.
It's all over the place, to be honest. But then Yeah, I actually, now that I realize I've studied so many fields, and then I realized that I want to do something in like, I enjoyed counseling. I enjoy working with youth students. Dotong full time I'm working in Uni Lodge, and I interact with lots of students, uni students. So I feel like I enjoy that field more. So hopefully, if I go back, I might go back to being a counselor or work in a youth related job, or yeah, let's see what the future holds.
Amazing. It's very nice to see that you have like already found your calling, if you can even call it that. And how were the first few days of like coming here as an international student, and then how did it go for you?
Um, well, honestly, now mom, I heard a lot of issues being, 줍desuna, chimmitobe, and then they're living together, living room nanude, chikabe, and all those stories were kind of haunting. Like, doe duchi kadebinna slape. Then, but I was honestly fortunate enough to stay here comfortably when I first arrived, because our family friend, they I asked them if I could like stay with them for like few days, and then I was very comfortable. Honestly, they made me feel at home, and then honestly, they were the ones who helped me land my first job. I work at Woolies, so ani job ya khongila bebe topchi. So I am still working there part time. So I'm really grateful for them. Honestly, if I feel like there should be someone here who can support you initially, because it's so hard. You're transitioning from Bhutanle, Australia. So yeah, I for one, I was lucky enough to have them when I first came here.
I just remembered this one conversation that we had like 9-10 months ago, where you said that you got like employee of the week or employee of the month, and then you were like, "Turujin remember Gashnachi."
They gave me like a
Trophy?
and some trophies crystal like employee of the month labbe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was sweet. It's like a encouraging gestures for me to do better. I was expecting money, but
But that's also like
yeah, I was
true.
happy. I showed it to my dad, and I was like, I got this. And they
That's
were
so
really
true.
happy.
That's so true. Even when I like win things, I would rather like, why is this not in the form of cash or a gift card even, or a gift
Honestly.
card even.
That's
But,
all right.
yeah. I also wanted to know, like, you said you first came here, you started working at Woolies. Was it a fun job? Was it a taxing job?
I honestly enjoy working at Woolies. That's why I'm doing full-time job, but I'm still doing part-time at Woolies because I actually enjoy working there. Initially, Woolies I was confident enough to like talk to people, because you meet like hundreds and thousands of people in a day or like in a week, and then you first start the only thing that was daunting or what would you say? I was scared was Australian people having strong accent, and then I could not understand them. And being a checkout girl, if you don't understand what the customer is saying, it's a disaster. So initially it was hard, but then then you get used to it, then you understand what they're saying. So actually that work has actually made me comfortable to be around Aussie people and then understand them and be confident with whatever I do. So yeah.
Amazing. So I guess you can say that because you got like familiarized with how they speak and like the mannerisms and whatever, it did set you up for like other jobs that you could do after that, right? At some point, you mentioned that you work at Uni Lodge.
Yeah.
What's that?
So currently I'm doing full-time job, customer service coordinator at Uni Lodge and Curtin University. So Uni Lodge is a student accommodation place. So there's like different houses where hostels but not hostel, it's like accommodation, like rental place for only Curtin students or Curtin College students, Curtin University students. So yeah, so on the campus now, it's around the campus, all the houses. So I just work as a customer service. Like if they have any work, if they have any issues, they come to us and we log it to maintenance and all that. So
Wow. How did you get that job? How did the interview process go?
I interviewed for it. It was on Seek. So because it said customer service coordinator, and I had good experience in customer service because I was working in Woolies, and then I was also working as a assistant manager, not like full-time assistant manager, but I did some shifts, like closing shifts. So I was assistant manager gi shifts. So I knew how to like handle money and all that. But the today handle money, so it's all tapping. It's not cash. But Woolies Nadi, it's cash and card both. So I know how to deal with all that. So when I did an interview, and my background in counseling also helped me to get that job because I have to deal with students and lalu. It's all international students, not all, like 90%, 98% international students. So they do come to us and talk about how they're homesick, like it's a new place for them, manene baby. So when I did an interview and I said I had background in counseling and I also have background in customer service, so it was like, okay, you have the experience, so you get it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm so happy for you. I feel like that's also the kind of job that you would enjoy. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not very monotonous where there's like nothing new happening. I feel like it's a very rewarding work. And you said you want to do something related to that relates back to youth or like, you know, like help them in any way possible. So I feel like even if you go back to Bhutan, I feel like this will just set you up for how to look at all the different ways that you could like possibly help a young person, you know. And then congratulations, I'm so happy to hear that. I actually didn't know that. I think the last we spoke of what work you were doing, it was like
Woolies.
a while ago, right? And then you said you're working at Woolies, and I was like, oh my god, that sounds like, because I've heard that Woolies pays really well, and even then I was like, oh, that's so nice. I'm like so happy for you. But then this one, it's like even better.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy for you that you haven't had to like let go of a job that you really like just because you had like something bigger and better like happen for you, you know. And then so you have been really active on TikTok, right? That's like always been one of the things that shot you into like the public eye. Is there like a video or a post that shot you into like virality that made you like viral?
It's actually quite awkward because the first video that I actually got like 1.2 million views or something was like a random video I made because Emadi, I was really active on TikTok. So I used to make, honestly, I don't have a niche. So it's like I make whatever I want to make. So even if it's like a lip sync or dance or like acting or like dialogues. So it was a random dialogue video and Hindi ke dialogue today. I made that, and then after a few days it was like 1.2 million views, and I was like, why this? Then I archived it. I wasn't expecting that to blow up out of all the videos I made. I was like kind of embarrassed, and I was like, oh no, not this one. And then I archived it. I think it's still in my archives. I haven't like put it out. And then another one, Aniti After Now, the one that reached millions was I put a picture of me and my partner, and for some reason it reached 1.2 million or something views. It was like a random picture where I wished him happy birthday, and then it was a Songkha song, and then it just blew up for some reason.
I mean, in my opinion, obviously, this is not expert opinion. I actually feel like you said that became viral after you came here. But then you were already like a TikTok personality before you came here,
In
right?
Bhutan.
Yeah, and then I think you like shot into the public eye when we were still in college. Like when you were in your third year, I think, and we were like just starting off. I'm not sure.
Well, I wasn't like amchi time na di TikTok wasn't like a thing. It wasn't like Datu ki Zumbe. Datu di, it's social media is quite big in Bhutan as well, and there are so many people getting PRs and they're doing ads and stuff. But ngachi time na di ngachi time na, I feel so old. Oh my God. What do you mean ngachi time? I'm still young.
Exactly.
But back when I was in Sherapsi, there were only like handful of people making TikTok videos. Like at the top of my head, I can remember Ajim Hadoji, and then Singibida, and then Jitsen Rika, and Sangi Chofel.
Yeah.
So these were the only ones who were active on TikTok. I think they were active since Musically, and then it turned into TikTok. So Ani Bebe videos oro, when it started reaching certain audiences, the like view top Ani Bebe, I was like, oh, people do actually enjoy watching me. So that gave me like a push and like boost to be like, oh, okay, I want to make more videos because people actually like it. They're commenting good things. But with that also came the hate.
Exactly. it's a social media is such a double-edged sword.
Mm.
And then you know how you said that the first video that like shot you into virality, that became like viral, you think, was a video that you weren't expecting to like do that good at all. I've just been thinking about how weird TikTok is, you know. In TikTok, you know what works is cringe.
What?
No, cringe is
Oh.
what works in TikTok.
I was like, do you know what's loved in this?
And then
Actually true.
Yeah. And then I was just thinking like, who are we to determine what's cringe, right? If it works, it works. And then for the longest time, this is something that I have had to unlearn as well. For the longest time, I used to think that, oh, I'm not gonna post because I speak Nepali, I speak Tanasangka, I speak Shalchup, and there are so many lip syncs that are like fun that you could do it. And I was like, oh, I'm not gonna post this. It's like it might come off a little cringe. But then lately, I'm realizing, I feel like we as a society are so obsessed with looking cool for some reason.
Yeah,
Like why?
true.
You know, why should we? Why do you want to do that? Do what you want to do. If you think, as long as you think it's alright, it's alright. You know. And then I feel like cringe is definitely a social construct, right? And then you should definitely unarchive that particular video. You never know, because I've seen like videos get viral, like that's like from 2020 or 2021. Especially TikTok is doing that right now. If you've noticed, there are some videos that are like becoming viral, and then I go to their page, and it takes me all the way back to 2023. You might like shoot into virality again. Who knows?
I don't know. I don't want to go down that path again because I feel like now, I don't know if I've become old or like just lazy. I've just stopped making videos altogether. It's just once in a while, random song or a random dance that I'm doing. But Hema Beochindi, in one day I'll post like 3 or 4 videos. Even when I was working as a counselor full time, I was making videos all in all. And I love wearing kira. And I think people like the fact that I posted in kira because one is that I enjoy wearing. I like to mix and match the Tego Wonju Kira and all that. So Ani Beodolo, I used to make even like Nepali songs or for that English song Kachitran Bironga Kira na Diki. Some of that got viral because they were like, oh, like a person from Bhutan is dancing in a Nepali song Ansum Dape, so it's going in that direction. So
you know what else also pays on TikTok, apart from cringe, being really, really pretty. And I think you really had that working for you when you first started. Because when I first met you, when I first saw you, no, I don't remember how it works. But then we used to go to the same university at some point. And then I know of you. And I remember thinking that you are so racially ambiguous. You're like, there's like a hint of like Iranian, like you know, there's like Iranian thing going on, and then also like, and then I feel like that also has like worked out really well for you. And then just want to like add this before we like move on to like other talking about other things. Today when before I came here, I was hanging out with my best friend. I'm not sure if you remember her, Sri Yangzom. She was also in poli sci. But then I told her, oh, you know what, today I'm like meeting Giri, I'm like, we are doing this interview podcast, and she was like, oh my god, can you ask her one thing for me? Why is she not posting as much? I genuinely used to enjoy the thing that she like, you know, things she posted. And she was like, at some point she was like posting more on Instagram, which is fine, but now she's not posting on both. You have to ask her why she hasn't been like posting more. And I was like, probably because life got in the way. It's Australia. So
well, thank you. Well, thank you to her.
Yeah.
It makes me happy, but I need to try harder. No, I will try hard.
Yeah, obviously, because now you know that there are like people who obviously like look forward to, you know, like posts from you, because it's like so small.
Nice.
Because sometimes I think when you're in the public eye, you don't realize that, you know, like people like look forward to like posts.
I never think people do, because it's like, why would you think that? But yeah, it actually makes me happy when I hear. It made me happy when you said that. So yeah.
Talking about like still while we are in the discussion of TikTok, what's the weirdest TikTok DM that you have ever gotten?
Weirdest? I get weird DMs all the time, to be honest, from random people like sending me paragraphs of poems and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, TikTok, on TikTok and also on Instagram, I do get messages every now and then. It's like cringy messages, or like sometimes like we were discussing earlier, they will be like, "Oh, you're so pretty," and then after a while they were like, "Oh, you're so pretty," and then after a while it's like cursing words.
Yeah.
They're like, "Why are you not replying? Do you think you are that great?"
Yeah.
And I'm like I can see like split personality
Yeah,
there. Like at first they're like complimenting, and after a while they're cursing at you, and then it's like what? Why do you expect me to reply to you when I don't even know you?
Exactly.
It's weird.
And then picking up on that, let me just add this. Social media and then phones now, it makes people think that you have like unlimited access to people. Like, you know, and then they text you, even our friends and family, they message you and then they like get mad when you don't reply in the time that they had in their mind that you had to reply on. And I feel like, yeah, you should definitely talk more. We should definitely talk more about things like this, because we have to create awareness around the idea that nobody owes us a reply, you know, especially a person that you barely know, especially a person that you know, they don't owe you a reply, they don't owe you an explanation, they don't owe you their number and their like addresses and details like that.
Exactly. That's why I find it so weird. Like some people on internet just thinks that they're like, I'm not a public figure, but like since I have some following, they're like, you can post but you can't reply. Like, who do you think you are? And I don't think I'm anyone. I think I'm myself. I'm posting videos for myself. If you enjoy watching, then great, please do. If you don't, then just don't watch it.
Yeah.
But why do you expect me to reply to you and then be like, oh, thank you, and all that on the in the comments? Is fine. You give me a compliment, I'll write it, thank you. But you can't expect me to
private messages.
Yeah, private messages and have a conversation with a total stranger. Like, you know.
I feel like at some point it might even create a security concern, because now they think they have that kind of access to you, right? I think in the Bhutanese community, that isn't a big problem. But then we have seen so many instances where international artists and celebrities have had, you know, like crazy stalkers because they think that a celebrity owes them the time and owes them like a reply or things like that. Moving on from a heavy topic, let's talk about your movie that we were talking about earlier. Oh my god. Yeah. So how did that come about? You did that as soon as you came here.
Yeah, it was like after a few months, I think. Well, about the movie, I'll just say it was a new experience. I learned a lot about shooting and how movies are shot. Other than that, I don't know, because I'm not an actor. That was the first time I've ever was ever invited to shoot a movie, and then I was skeptical, honestly. At the beginning I was like, should I do it or not? And then I even asked my friends, and they were like, well, you can give it a try. You never know if you're gonna like it or not if you don't try. And then I tried, and I realized that I'm not a good actor. I feel like I'm not meant for that field, because making a 15 seconds video on TikTok and making a whole movie is so different. Like, you have cameras pointed at you. Making a TikTok video, it's like just yourself, so you can act any way you like. But if there are like people watching you, cameras, you get so nervous, and then it's really hard. And then especially to shoot in Australia, it's even harder, because you don't have the time to actually bring everyone together and shoot properly. Sometimes the actors are free, sometimes when the actors are free, the director is not free, or the cameraman is not free. So there was lots of issues with that. Not issues, but like it wasn't like I feel like that movie wasn't made wholeheartedly by everyone, because there wasn't like time.
A couple of clashes that kept happening, right? But nobody's fault, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Things
Things
just didn't work
just because
out.
it's in Australia, because everyone's busy. They have their other jobs.
Yeah.
So it's really hard. Yeah.
Have you watched that movie?
Yes, I did. It was quite cringy to watch, but
it's alright. We need to unlearn.
Yeah, cringe, I couldn't watch it. Like, half the time I was like this, like trying not to look at my face on that big screen. I was like, oh no, I can't.
But then, you know what? I think it's mainly because all of us, we hold ourselves to a certain standard. And then I'm pretty sure that if you had like, if your friend was doing all of the dialogues and the roles that you were doing, you would be like way more kind to that particular scene, right? But it's because it's you, and because like you are obviously like harder on yourself about how you want to look to the outside world.
Yeah.
It's definitely because of that.
I'm my
I
worst
sadly
critic.
haven't. Yes.
I'm my worst critic.
Exactly. We can do that. So maybe I haven't watched it. I hope to watch it. I'm not sure how.
I don't think
we
it's
can.
in anywhere else.
Oh yeah, that's. But you said something else was on TikTok. Was it not your movie?
No,
I mean,
it was
what, YouTube.
No, I think it was another movie that was also shot in Australia, but I think Power Australia is not on any social media platforms.
Oh,
I'm not too sure. After that, I was like completely. It was a good experience, I'd say. Like, I'm really glad that they invited me to do this movie. Obviously, they saw something in me and they were like, "Can you do it?" And then I did. I learned a lot. The funny thing that happened was, my scene was all like emotional scenes, so I had to cry in front of the camera. And then initially they were like, if you cry yourself, because Onitu was saying that a lot of Bhutanese actors, they cry. It seems realistic and it looks good in the camera, because if you cry, your nose is like stuffed and then it's like red, and with the realistic Thomelape, they were like, can you cry like yourself for the scene? I was like, okay, I'll try. But I couldn't cry. And then I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but they put like eye drop.
Okay.
And then that actually burns your eyes. And then it's like I couldn't open my eyes for a second, like for a few minutes. And then after that, they were like, okay, let's shoot.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, I can't open my eyes. I can't shoot yet. Wait. And after that, I was like, wait, I will try and cry myself. For other scenes, I didn't. I just used the eye drop once for the first scene that I had to cry. But after that, the second time when I had to cry again, lots of crying in the movie, I did it myself. So I was actually proud of that, because I was like, wait, let me cry myself. And then they actually make the environment very... Because I realized it's a job. Just because you say it's a movie doesn't mean anyway Gab is also members, because it's people make living out of, because actors and actresses they earn from movies, so it's work for them. So only to actually makes the environment very comfortable for me to cry. Because imagine you're trying to cry and there's someone giggling behind the camera, then you can't. But then they're like, everyone's serious, like make the mood and all that. So I learned a lot. That's all I would say. I don't know if I'm ready for another movie or if I can ever do another movie, because I think the movie didn't do quite well, or because I got lots of what do you call now, backlash. Or,
Really?
Yeah, on TikTok. People were
wow.
like,
I didn't know that.
those who
About
watched
the
it.
movie? Oh, okay. But then, having said that, I can't lie and say that I have watched the movie and you are amazing. I haven't watched it. But then from what I know of you, I'm pretty sure that you gave it your all. You give it your all with what you had. Like, we never know, you could do another movie and then that could go on to like do like way better. You know, like you could like act like an Oscar worthy performance. But we will never know until you like give it a try. And I'm like so glad that you did the first movie, because now you know what are your limitations and what are things that you could definitely improve on if given like if you had to like go on and act for another movie. And then talking about like movies and everything, did you ever, while the movie was happening, did you ever feel like, oh my god, I probably might not never do this again? Was this after the movie or was this while the movie was happening?
I think it was after, because after the reaction and after how the movie turned out, I was quite skeptical. I was like, oh no, I don't, because I thought I was awkward to myself. I was like, oh no, I'm not fit for this, because I never got like any trainings or like any, this is like, it was like, just go act. That was my thing. I have no training whatsoever. I have no background in acting whatsoever. So it was really hard. So maybe if I take a course or like if I'm refined in that way, I might give it another shot. But yeah, if somebody tells me to like act in a movie, I would be like, no, I'm good. Thank you, Lape.
And earlier you said it's like very different to like making a video for 15 seconds.
Exactly.
When you have your phone on you, you can always like go again and again, right? Like if you don't like a particular shot. we can be so critical. We can say, oh my god, the lip sync is fine, but I just don't like how my hair is sitting in this video. And you can go it again, and then you can go at it again. But with movies, there are like so many people who are like there.
Waiting for you to finish your scene.
Yeah.
So you can't just, you can do retakes, obviously, if you're not happy, or if the director is not happy, they will make you do retakes. But after a while, it just, it's just uncomfortable for you to do it again and again, and then be like, okay, whatever works.
Now let's just steer the conversation to like something lighter, because I feel like we've been like talking about really heavy things, which is like not the vibe of this show at all. You're like all about
I know, we're
chill
getting so
vibes.
serious. Let me take a
Chill vibes. All right. So I had this question written down for you when I was just like, I was supposed to ask this like earlier, but I just remembered it. What is the most international student thing that you have ever done?
Oh, ordering food on DoorDash or Uber Eats. It was getting out of hand at some point because I was ordering DoorDash every day, and then I was like, Nene chicken, I love Nene chicken. I still do, but I have cut down a lot because end of the month, you know how in Combank you can see all the where the money is going, and then you see, oh, amchi spend benu, and then you see where it goes, and then half of it was in DoorDash. So it was kind of concerning, but yeah, now I've stopped.
And then Combank is such a hater as well, you know. It's like eating out. 801.
They directly tell you like where you spend your money, shopping, eating out, and the majority is there. So,
speaking of like being an international student, do you think you would like do another master's or a PhD again, or was the first one just enough?
I'm so done studying, to be honest. I want to take a break because I was continuously studying till now. I finished my high school, then I went to Sherapsi, and then right after that I did my postgraduate. Right after that I did I came here and did, after postgraduate I worked for a year and a half, and then I came here. But it was like I was studying, so I'm so done with assignments. I want to take a break. So yeah, for time being, I don't think I'm gonna study anything for now. Maybe in the future it might change, but for now I'm done.
Maybe acting school?
Oh, that I might take a chance.
And has anybody like from the Bhutanese community in Australia, somebody that you have barely met, have they ever like reached, like spoken to you in public saying that they recognized you from somewhere? Has that ever happened in Australia?
Yes, actually, it's actually heartwarming and also funny that it happens. Because last time there was Ajim who people just come and talk to me directly, and then I'm sometimes so bad with remembering names or faces, and I feel so bad. And Nganbintigi, I also talk to them like I know them, even if I don't. So there was Ajim, and I was working at Woolies, and she was just like, oh, hi, and then I was like, I don't know this person, like, oh my god, doesn't click at all. But I still wasn't like rude. So I was just like, oh, hi, and all that. And I'll still not remember. And that Ajim was still in the back of my head. I was like, okay, I don't remember her now. Like, and last time I ran into her in Carousel, and then she was again like, oh, hi. And then she was like, and then I was like, all right, okay. And she was saying, that's why I feel like I know you. That's why direct I thought like TikTok na atar thon digi nga chi ngoshe no high love ju khasan nga che ulisna che ba tela that. Then I was like, oh, okay, it was this Ajim. But yeah, it was really nice. She was like, I know you from TikTok. And then whenever people come to buy things in Woolies, and some people don't, I mean, obviously not everyone knows me, come on, Giri. But people who know me, they actually tell me, like, they're like, oh, che, ani Sonam jili mo, and all that. And yeah, it's kind of awkward, but it makes me happy also.
And so apart from the Bhutanese community, has anybody from like the Nepalese community or the like Indian community, have they ever like recognized you?
No. Not here, no.
Oh, okay.
But they do ask me if I'm from Nepal or from Bhutan, not Bhutan, from India, because I think I give off that I don't know, vibe.
I think it's like I told you, like very racially ambiguous, right? I wouldn't think Nepal or India. I would probably think like Iranian.
Some people
like
have actually
middle.
said that, not Bhutanese,
yeah.
because Bhutanese knows like Bhutanese, so southern Bhutanese in Amena Shebe, but like Aussie desu, Yan and some Chilip desu, they're like, where are you from? Like, are you from like Anzum places? And I'm like, no, I'm from Bhutan. They're like, no, really? You don't look like you're from Bhutan. Anzum lam dus. And I'm like, I'm very much.
I have had somebody ask me if I was Singaporean. I don't know what gave off Singaporean. I actually think I give off really Bhutanese, especially considering the cluster of ethnicities in Perth. I feel like I give off a lot of like Bhutanese energy. But then last time a lady, she was like, Singaporean la, and I was like, no, no, but how can I help you? Because we were at a train station. I could see that she couldn't find. I could see that she was looking for something that she couldn't find, and then she came up to me and she was Singaporean la, and I was like, no, but how can I help you? So
yeah, I think we have diverse they think that some people think I'm from Philippines or Anzumia, but yeah, I'm like, no, I'm Bhutanese, proud Bhutanese. All the time.
Speaking about that, let me ask you a question that could go either way. Could be a positive or a negative. Like, could be a positive or a heavy answer. How has your, because you grew up in Thimphu primarily, right? So I'm not sure if that would like change anything. But how did growing up in Bhutan as like a southern Bhutanese, how do you think that shaped your belief system? Like your personal values?
Well, I don't know how to answer this question, to be honest. I grew up Thimphu I came when I was in class 7. So yeah, I wasn't in the capital all the time. But then belief system, what do you mean, like belief system?
Like belief system, like maybe your belief surrounding your culture, your tradition, and then maybe your belief surrounding like feminism, maybe human rights. Do you think that has like changed how you view all of these different nuances of having like a particular belief system?
Well, honestly, I don't know how to answer this question without being like hated, because it's gonna be like one-sided. Yeah. But I will not answer that question. But I'll say this, that we are Southern Bhutanese, and then I know it's gonna be very heavy topic if I talk about this, but then there are some people who call you Jaga, and I hate that. I hate that so much, because what do you mean? What do you mean, Jaga?
Also, it never comes from a good place, does it? It always comes from a place of like,
exactly.
Malice.
Yeah, and then I think I never react to a hate comment unless I saw that one comment, you're like, Jaga desu. Like, what do you mean? That's so bad, and that just hurt me so much. Yeah. And also, more than hurt, I was angry. Like, do you not know what that word means? Yeah. Like, how can you call me that? Like, I'm more Bhutanese than you, if anything. Exactly. Like, I'm promoting my culture on social media. I'm wearing, just because I'm wearing kira doesn't mean that, but
Yeah, and to people who are not from the community, you are the face of Bhutan to them, if you are somebody they follow regularly.
So I embrace both my culture and, like, as a Bhutanese, because I think I'm Hindu, so Buddhism and Hinduism is similar in so many ways, almost similar for that matter. So I celebrate what do you call now?
Losar?
I celebrate Losar, I celebrate Dasai, Diwali. But that doesn't make me any less Bhutanese. Like, but people don't get it. So if I get too into it, it's going to be very serious, and I might get mad at some point. But, just don't go around people calling people
racial slurs.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
call it what it is. It's a racial slur. It's not coming from a good place. If you ever say that, it's definitely coming from a place of malice too. And then you are so right. Like, Bhutan is so multicultural in the way that we are, because it's divided into so many regions, right? From the Chachukuro, and then all of that. And then I personally, originally I'm from Paru, grew up in Paru and Thimphu all my life, but then I've done my schooling all around the country. I was in the south for a bit, so I obviously speak Nepali, right? Khosamkha. And then I was in Bumthang for a really long part of my life, so I obviously speak like the Bumthapka as well.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, that's nice.
And I also understand Kurtu, because it's like so close. And my dad's from the east of Bhutan, so I also speak and understand that. And I honestly think maybe it's also because of this, like, because we have had, like, I have had the opportunity of, growing up around the country. And then my family is very multicultural in a way, because there are people from southern Bhutan who have, like, married into the family. There are people from, like, western Bhutan who have married into the family. So it's like a really big family. And we are, like, very multicultural in a way, where we celebrate a lot of things because we love the person who celebrates these things, right? And obviously, I have actually never understood the things that you have spoken. Of course, when you grow up in a place, like, when you grow up, you hear these words, and then you grow up even more, and you understand what these words mean.
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
hurts even more, because it's like you understand that these are not kind words. They are not words that are being said stupidly.
Yeah.
It's because of ignorance. And then once again, shifting the conversation to something
It's been very serious.
yeah, once again, I think it's actually because we know each other that we are, like, that we are able to, like, tap into these, like, different vibe of the whole conversation. Because before this, it's always been, like, a very expected conversation, like, nothing too heavy,
Right.
nothing too dark. But then kudos to us also.
Yeah.
We are doing something new, if I may say so. Okay, let me ask you this. What's one really ridiculous rumor that you have heard about yourself?
That I'm going around asking people like money.
What?
It was a big thing. Just recently, there was actually an account, fake account. Somebody created, and then it had my pictures. That person was more active on Facebook than I am, because I'm
Yeah.
not that active on
Yeah.
Facebook. And then that person has been taking pictures from my IG and putting it on Facebook, and then pretending it's me, and then texting random people and asking money from them. And then people actually gave her money. So it was ridiculous. And then thankfully, mutual Giri, that doesn't know me, but that person texted my partner, and they were like, are you guys still together? Like, this girl is texting me and asked money from me, and then we were like, no. And he said, that's not her account, because that account blocked me and my partner and everyone. So I never saw that account. So which is good, because he told my partner, and then we kind of got into it. And then I think on live na job, I talked about it as well, saying that that's not me, and if that account asks money, it's not me, or don't give it. So my problem was that girl using my photos. So obviously I told my dad, and he went to the police. So it was because I told him to, because it's obviously not right.
Yeah.
You just can't go around using people's photos.
But then, you know what? When people were sending like money to this person, the account number and the account name would have been
I know
different.
I don't know. I don't know how she convinced them to. Maybe they didn't know it was Sonam Jili, because her name was Sonam on Facebook. And then when they sent money, POB now, bless you.
Oh God, we were worried about you sneezing.
I know.
But then it ended up being me. Alright, please continue.
So, you know how you send money on Mbob, and then the name pops up, and then he kept that screenshot, and then he sent us that screenshot, and account number and everything.
Yeah.
But her account wasn't, okay, I'm getting too much into it. But anyways, we found her account number, and then, all that, and we submitted it to the police, the screenshots and everything. And when I went live, there was another guy who also said, like, oh, she asked money from me as well. So I was like, can you send me screenshots? And he did, and we submitted that as well. And then,
And you know what? I'm going to get hated on for this one, but I'm going to say it. Why are these men sending money to, like, even if you were asking it, there's no way you would be asking it, but why are they sending money to somebody they don't know?
Yeah. I know I could be hated for this as well, but then, they said that she was like, blackmail, not blackmail, emotionally, you know. I don't have any money, like I have to renew my passport, I need 6,000 gove nultrum. So can you like put it in my account? So because she portrayed like she was in Australia, and then she was saying like renew BC gove, and I don't have BC, like can I lend some money? Even though I think it's weird enough that they lend, like, well, if they wanted to give technically she didn't force them to give her. They gave the money willingly, but they were deceived by the picture image.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not too sure how they're gonna handle the money case, because she technically didn't steal from them. She just asked, they gave. So that's honestly not my problem.
True, that's not
Sorry,
a problem
but
at all. Yeah.
my issue was her using my picture.
Yeah,
So.
you have like literally no connection to this case apart from like her pretending to be you, which is like identity theft is a crime.
Yeah,
Jim.
exactly. That's why. So, well, if the police does find her, I'm just gonna be like, she has deleted that account for now.
Oh.
But then if the police did find her, I will try to tell my appa that, like, tell her to, give the money back if she can. But if she refuses, then I don't know how to go, because that's
because you literally have nothing to do with this apart from them, like, apart from her like pretending to be you.
Exactly.
Speaking about like worst things that have happened, what's the worst advice that anybody has ever given you?
Australia is fun. That's not advice, honestly. I don't know if I think everyone has given me pretty good advice throughout my life, so I don't think anyone has ever said anything that I didn't relate to or that I didn't use in my life. So nothing that I think was wrong.
Okay. Let me ask you something else, like on that particular jumping on that particular idea. Has there ever been a time when you were like, oh my god, visa cancel no, like would have been easier back home? Has there ever been a time like that?
Actually, there was a lot of times. Well, I didn't tell my parents. I regretted coming here. They're probably gonna watch this and be like, what? But I did talk with my friends, because sometimes it's just difficult. Just one of those days, where it's like so difficult. You're so tired. There's nothing you like. You come home. Your routine is like uni homework. Then at some point you're like, there's no social life. So it becomes difficult. So there were times I've thought that Australia, but then that's just like one of those days. Other than that, I'm actually glad that I came here, and then I learned so many things, so many values, learned the value of, budgeting, money-wise.
Australia really does teach you a lot of things, Last time I was talking to somebody, and then this person is coming to Australia soon on a scholarship. And then he was like, what should I bring? And I said, enough money to last you for a few months, and then lots of grit. Bring lots of grit, because it's not just the money, sometimes you're like set up with money, because usually when we come here our parents like send enough for us, like, but then it's just like the emotional toll it takes on you, like, when like things are not going your way, or then you were hoping for something to turn out a certain way and then it doesn't. And then if you were back home, our parents would have like said something to like help, or like done it for us themselves. But then here things get real so fast, so soon. And then sometimes even I'm like, oh my god, ani visa de cancel ya so much in the I would have been like doing something else back home. But then same thing, I also like don't regret anything a bit. I've always wanted a master's. I also want a PhD. Not immediately after this. This has been very taxing on its own, the master's, but obviously master's, a PhD at a point, master's in research at some point. But then,
oh my god,
but then I completely understand where you're coming from, like the emotional toll it takes on you sometimes. Where some days are just like one of those days. And
you want to do PhD, Krishna?
I actually, oh my god, nobody's ever asked me that. I want to do a PhD in linguistic sexism.
Oh, okay.
So if you have known me for a while, so like
I know
my belief system is like very like, so I want to do a PhD in like linguistic sexism, because I have noticed that language in itself is also like so much more misogynistic. Like the misogynoir of like even language is like so like deep, And I realized something, and I actually realized this during the 2025 US elections. There's like so much discrimination in the world, there's racism, there's like ableism, and then there's like a discrimination based on age and color, but then no discrimination goes harder than the discrimination of women. And then I studied this particular paper when I was doing my bachelor's, and it says double oppression. Now double oppression is when you are a woman of color, of a particular ethnicity and you're a woman, because now you have like two separate things like making your life harder. So yeah, that's something that I want to do a PhD on, like linguistic sexism. And
I
even
I
as
can see
somebody
you doing that.
really
Yeah.
and even as somebody who speaks Lotsamka and Shachop and then Zonka and whatever and then English, and then I've noticed that there's like so many ways to curse out a woman, then there's so many ways to curse out a man. And that's mainly because language in itself is like deeply sexist,
Right.
most cases. So yeah, that's something I realized when I was growing up, and that's definitely something that I want to like study more. But I don't know if I would have like the perfect research coordinator, like a professor who would like sign off on that. But we'll see. All in
You
due
will.
time.
I mean, I think there are so many people who
Yeah.
would actually be interested in this.
Yeah.
Because I actually see you. There were so many words that you just used that I had to Google later and be like, what was she talking about? No, but I know it because you are. I've seen you, post about certain things, and because I feel like in that case, I'm not very. Well, I see what's wrong, but I'm not really vocal about it, which I should be. I shouldn't be like keeping quiet with the little bit of following I have. But then whenever I see you, or for that matter, Regita and all talking about, all those things, I feel like, oh, yeah, makes sense. It's totally right, whatever you're saying. So,
But you know what? I actually don't blame you, especially women with a platform. I personally think, okay, this is an unpopular opinion, but I think that everybody with a platform should talk about these things, because the more awareness we have, the better the world will be. But at the same time, I don't think women should bear the cross, women shouldn't bear the burden of being an advocate wherever they go. We would never ask this of a man with a huge following.
Yeah.
So why would we like ask that of a woman with a huge following, So yeah, but then I think that's just the curse of womanhood, where you're expected to be everything and nothing at the same time, right? And why do we keep going into
you're
this?
so wise. I mean, the way
No,
you
I'm not.
talk. I
No,
mean, once I asked you what PhD ka more after your face lit up, and then you were explaining all those things. I can see that you can actually, you really love, and you know what you're talking about.
I pretend to know what I'm talking about most days, because of my bachelor's in language. I can always pretend to like just bluff my way out of things. But you're really smart as well. Look at everything that you've accomplished,
Try.
And then I actually failed my PE. So I actually failed my PE. But then I also don't want to blame it on the PE part, because I literally had no heart in it. Now, if my mom ever watches this particular episode, she's not gonna be happy about this. But so a lot of my friends. You know a lot of my friends.
Yeah.
I remember this. We had our PE test on a Sunday morning at around 8 a.m. We were out until 3 a.m. that particular Saturday. We were at a friend's birthday that definitely didn't end when it was supposed to, right? And I remember thinking, oh my god, I'm because I think I got a 48 or a 49. And the thing is, me and my friends, we are so cringe that way. We literally signed up for the test like on the call together. So we were like stationed where we were like right after each other in the PE test.
Oh, okay.
And then I could literally see them like, as soon as we got the paper, we were all like looking at each other, what's going on, what's this, right? Because we don't know what's happening. Obviously, we didn't go to the classes properly. But then for me especially, the plan was like always to go out for my master's. And then I actually had a 2-year gap after my bachelor's, and I then came here because my mom has always wanted her children to like get a master's, get a PhD or whatever. And then even she was like, go before you lose your zeal to like study more. Go before like, before things like become too boring. Because I think there's a certain age after which you don't want to like look at papers and then do education at all. So yeah, luckily for me, everything turned out exactly the way I envisioned it would. But then, yeah, you're like so smart. You did your PhD, you did your PE, and then your RCSE. I actually failed. Me and 4 of my friends, we failed our PE. Everybody in that particular room, all of my friends, we failed that PE. And then we went on to like achieve greater things. One of them is an air hostess now.
Yeah, I know.
One is working as what's this girl doing now? She works for WWF.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And then one's like in tours and treks now. So and one's here. Yeah. So we have all like gone on to do like interesting things, and then like luckily everything's worked out. I'm like, at this point, I'm like completely talking about things like, I do that a lot where I like forget what I was talking about and then like completely
No, we
derail
all do
completely
that.
derail the conversation. I wanted to ask you, speaking of accomplishments, what's one thing that you really want to accomplish?
For now, I just want to have like work somewhere that I'm satisfied in. Maybe like I want to go back to Bhutan and do something that I'm interested in. Like obviously counseling was also fun, but sometimes counseling can be really heavy and it gets like, like I want to do something that's not too much to me as well. Like I'll
Yeah.
actually enjoy doing it. I've also considered working in like a ECCD or something
Oh.
because I actually enjoy children's as well. But yeah, maybe in future, like you said, if you want to study, I might study childcare because I am leaning towards that too for PR reasons. But
Okay.
also, even if I don't get PR, I'm more than happy to go back and maybe work in a ECCD if I could.
My next question, now this might probably be the second last question, is what advice would you give to like young Bhutanese women who are either like thinking of moving to Australia or thinking of moving into content creation or thinking of moving into a job that they like?
Yeah. Well, if you're thinking of moving to Australia, I think the number one thing will be mentally prepared because I've seen so many youths or so many like aludus naombe, they can't handle the pressure of, working and studying together like because they've been our parents, they spoon feed us with everything, and once you come here it's so independent, you have to think about so many things, and it gets hard on them. So you have to think about all those things and be mentally prepared to come to Australia. Don't just think about. I think a lot of people have already talked about it, like me, just social media. Tabe, oh Australia, you think about all those things. It's really difficult to get job as well. There are so many jobs, of course, but then student be you have that restriction, working restriction, and that is why you don't get a job. So it's really hard as a student to get a job. So you have to think about all that. Now, like you said, have enough money for you to last like a month or so. It could be even more than that if you don't get a job. So be mentally prepared. Be financially prepared as well when you come here. Just don't remember. Yeah, that if you're coming to Australia, and then if you want to go into content creation, well, I don't think I'll be the right person to answer this because I myself have stopped making anything, but I think you should have a niche. I don't have a niche for that matter, and that's so bad because I'm making anything and everything, like singing, dancing, not singing, like lip syncing, dancing. I don't have a niche, but there are people who make only like makeup contents or like daily vlogs. So if you have that niche, that will really help you to guide you through your content creation and all that. And then internet trolls always gonna be there, haters always gonna be there. You just have to be thick-skinned. Like I just sometimes, if it's too much, I just block them and just ignorance is bliss at this point. And then I also feel like now that social media nalu, a lot of people are getting recognized outside Bhutan as well. I feel like you should blend Bhutanese culture into the modern digital era so that people know more about Bhutan, because they should. Bhutan is such a beautiful country, and I feel like people should know more about it. And now TikTok is gaining popularity, and Bhutanese creators are also getting popularity. So I feel like as much as the new contents, there should be blend of, you never forget your roots, blend Bhutanese culture as much as you can. Not people will enjoy if you proudly showcase your culture. I feel like they will watch it more. I mean, I've seen Chilibki content creators talking about Bhutan, like, have you heard about Bhutan, this country, this country? I feel like if a Bhutanese creator made it, it'll make more sense because they know more about Bhutan than a Chilib. So
Exactly.
yeah, I feel like they should do more of that. I am talking so much.
It's all right. We wanted to hear you
I was
talk.
scared I was not gonna talk, but here I am yapping away.
That's exactly what we wanted. What I wanted, especially, I thought that because this is the first time you ever sat down properly and then talked about, like,
This is my first podcast as
yeah.
well, so
You've been in the public eye for so long. How long now? Has it been 5 years? 6 years?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I started in second year in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have never like had a good sit down in like a bigger, apart from like your own videos
Yeah.
and your own posts. And then I was actually thinking it might be like interesting, to hear somebody who's been around for so long but about whom we know nothing about, to like hear them and then talk about what they what is their opinion on things, how life is going for them. And then I'm so happy to hear that life's going well for you. Hopefully more pay raises, like more like more success, more masters, everything more for you. My last question, and this is probably the last thing that we will discuss here,
Okay.
is that what has been your biggest takeaway, like from life, from Australia, everything? What's been your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway would be nothing beats staying around your family, because I've been with my family all my life, and then once I got here, I actually miss what we had back home. Because, well, the thing is, the older you get, obviously you have to leave one day. You have your own family, but then Bhutan na Diptalu, even if you have your own family, your parents are around. You know, like you're in Paro, your parents are in
Yeah.
Thimphu, you can meet.
Yeah.
But Australia, Diptalu, I think me and my mom, we talk every day. So that has changed so much. Like we always have this connectedness with our family anyway, but then after you come here, you actually realize that how much close you are with your
Yeah.
family and how much you miss them when you're actually here. I know everyone's gonna say this, but it's actually true. That's why they're saying it, because I miss my family so much. I actually want to go back and spend some time with them, but yeah, nothing is gonna beat the closeness of a family. Like
The value they bring to,
it's never gonna
everyday
be the
life.
same if you're in Australia.
Okay. And that is the end. Thank you so much for
I feel
coming.
like it was so heavy, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
but I feel like it was like so unique compared to, like, you said you have watched like the other episodes,
yeah, I did.
and then I said, don't lie, even I haven't watched all the other episodes.
I did watch it. I did.
But it's like so hard to look at. So I like keep it playing, and then I like try to like move around and do other things, because I can't like hear myself and watch myself that way. I think that same thing happened
same.
for you, like when the movie was
Oh yeah,
screening.
we're doing like this.
And then thank you so much for coming. I'm
you
so
for having
happy
me.
to see you after so long. I'm so happy to see you doing so well. But I've always known that you will do so well, because you know what? I remember one of the first things, because I remember like going back home from uni. No, I was in my third year of uni actually, and you had like graduated like
Yeah.
way before. And somebody was asking me, "Did you not go to like uni with?" I mean, somebody asked me if I knew you. My cousin asked me if I knew you. You might know of her as well. I'll let you know who she is later. And then she, do you know of her? And then I was like, yeah, I know of her. We're not like good friends or whatever. We haven't like socialized that way, but of course we like know of each other. She knows I exist, I know she exists. And she was like, what do you think of her? What do you think of her? And I was like, I think that for somebody who grew up pretty for so long in life, she's like really sweet and really nice, because usually because that's something that we expect of like really pretty girls, some of them are like a little mean, but then I told her that you wouldn't expect her to be as nice and as harmless and as sweet as she is. And I've always known that no matter where you go in life, because of like your because of how sweet you are and how like harmless and kind you are, it will like just lead you through. It will just like shine the path for you, and I'm so happy that it has.
Thank you.
And then wishing you like more success with everything that you do. Hopefully we'll see you more on TikTok and like on more other like social media
I'll try my best. Now that
platforms.
you've said that people are expecting me to post more, I will try.
I'm actually
and
not
do that.
saying it because like we are here. I've actually heard people say that you're not as active, and like what's happening with that, right? All right. And okay, that is the end of this episode, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I cannot thank the people enough for like watching and engaging. And then we will have our last episode next week. I mean, the last episode will be short next week, and you will take a look at it after. But at the same time, thank you so much. This season has been wonderful. It has been so nice to know and talk to all of the people that I have had, and then meet all the people who have like met through the podcast, whether it's like people who have like followed me, people who have like reached out to me to talk about it. Thank you so much. I'll see you next episode. And then that is the story, that is the end of this particular episode of Heart to Heart, the stories of us.